Hey guys, it's Comics G-Man, and I'm here to talk about Action Comics number 1067 and up. And yeah, it's another bad run, guys. I hate to say it, lots of bad stuff here. But fuck, it's something to talk about. It's something to do. Screw it. Alright, guys, so straight to number 1067. I gave this a 5 out of 10. And 1067 now starts over. It's after the House of Brainiac event. Gail Simone writes for the next 3 issues, and the art is by Eddie Barrows, which is the only good thing, the really good thing. Not to talk too much shit about Gail Simone, I wrote here, I said, a 10 for Simone and Barrows' teamwork, the main story. But a 0! A 0 for the disgusting feminist bonus story at the end. That's why I gave this a 5 out of 10. I would have given this an 8 out of 10 if it didn't have the bonus story at the end, and you'll find out why. I enjoyed the main story. Simone's writing and Barrows' artwork is a great combination that makes this issue feel like an older comic from like the 80s or something. I like how the setting seems to be set in the 70s, roughly with the clothing styles, the hairstyles, the way everything looks. Yeah, I said the drawing is like the 80s, but you know what's cool though? Like the settings and everything, the way they're dressed, it looks like it's in the 70s. Like even Lois in her like cute little dress, she's straight up from the 70s, man. You can't tell me that's not 70s. All right, maybe you could say it's like retro 60s, but nah, man. This looks like the 70s. With the cars, the way that Eddie Barrows drew the cars, and the hairstyles for the men. It's the 70s, man. It's the 70s. So anyway, the story is nothing special, but the simplicity of this is refreshing after reading the latest lackluster Dragon Ball Z-esque like Superman comics by Joshua Williams. Those are lame. The bonus story is garbage. So here's why the bonus story sucks. Lois is since this is it's connected to the Superman Joshua Williams stuff. She's the editor-in-chief, and she treats Clark like a fucking used condom. She treats him like shit. Like a fucking errand boy. She gives an intern a scoop over him. And she's calling, like, this one guy comes, Albert, the atomic whatever skull, the atomic skull, and he wants to cover the story because in the arcs, Superman rehabilitated the atomic skull, but now he's acting like a prick again, but he wants to be close to the story. And she's like, no, you can't, because, like, you're a conflict of interest. You're just a conflict of interest. I can't have you be a conflict of interest. Like, no joke. And he's like, I mean, it's like she's saying you're just a conflict of interest just for being you. Honestly, if anyone should have become an editor, it should be Clark at this point because it makes more sense. Why should Clark Kent be an editor? I'll tell you why. He would be less bound to chasing the stories, and he could edit everything in super speed, look over everybody's shit, tell them what to do real fast, right? Maybe have an assistant, and he could just focus more of his time as Superman. But I mean, whatever. It's not that important. But you know, girl boss and putting men down in their place and all that mean shit you get from the left. What do you expect from a writer who goes by the name Rainbow Rowell? Eat shit, Rainbow Rowell. So, on to Action Comics number 1068. I wrote here, I gave it a 4 out of 10 for similar reasons. I said, same as before, 7.5 for the main story by Simone and drawn by Barrows, 0 for the bonus story by Rainbow Turd. Simone lost a little steam in this issue, but Barrows really pumped out plenty of great panels as usual. I like his classic style. I would say the worst moment was when Superman had to face his last 3-second challenge that put 15 million people at risk of annihilation. Lois gives him a speech on why she became a reporter, and it was so basic and lame. Yeah, like literally this was the worst part of Simone's writing. Simone had Lois try to inspire Superman on why she became a reporter, and this is what she says. I'm quoting now. "It's not for fame. I know people think that. It was because everywhere I looked, there was a problem I couldn't do anything about. Crime, malfeasance, hunger, disease, war, inequality, blah 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 blah. Heard this a million times. And that was enough to inspire Superman? I don't know. Seemed like a very by-the-book kind of answer and took me out of the moment. Like, it was like Simone was like, hey, DC, yeah? Can you give me a pamphlet on, like, your corporate slogans and what we tell our employees that we treat like shit, probably? What do we tell them? Oh, yeah, we're against inequality, war, malfeasance, and corruption, blah, 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 blah. Like, wow, way to turn Lois into a fucking two-dimensional, like, predictable leftist. Like, I don't know. I know those are things to be against, but it's the way it's written. It just comes off, like, so generic at this point. Like, it just has no meaning anymore to talk like that. Like, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It just doesn't feel like it has any meaning when you have a character say that. Like I need something more personal for me to be like, I get what she's saying. But it's, like, so generic, you know, like, or when you hear a character be like, I'm a global citizen, I care about everyone. And it's like, you know, it comes off kind of gay. But anyway, lastly, the bonus story continues. Lois's campaign to emasculate her husband Clark and sending him to do obituaries and dumb stories. Like, literally one is like looking at a little girl on a pogo stick beating the world record. Like, that's what she sends Clark Kent to do with Jimmy. She treats the men like shit, but she sends this new intern, fat fucking ginger, to go do all these fucking hard-hitting, heavy stories. Like, seems pretty obvious what they're trying to say here, if you ask me. And it's pretty indicative, I think, of how it is to work in corporate America, if you get what I'm saying, guys. Let's see. So, he clearly seems to be pissed off about this, Superman, justifiably so, but I still don't like this unnecessary divide between Lois and Clark. It feels like she's treating him like a bitch. Superman's a bitch now, man. Go do what I say, you little fucking bitch. Oh yeah, you could save the world, you could pick up a fucking asteroid, you could die by doomsday and come back, but remember, you're a man, and I'm a woman, and you do what I say, because the women know everything, and the men are the reason why everything in the world is horrible, and the women have nothing to do with anything. We're innocent, and take our lead, because we'll lead us to a utopia. Suck my dick! Alright, so anyway, I say here, it feels like she is... Oh, I said that already. If Clark was editor, I don't picture him treating him Lois in such a disrespectful manner like she is to him. Disgusting mundo! Disgusting mundo! Alright, so, number 1069, 4.5. The conclusion of the main story was good, but a bit predictable and hokey. I really just enjoyed the art, and the story got kind of meh after a while. So glad it ended here, nothing too memorable. And in the bonus story, Lois apologizes but still ends up being right about her ethics. And this suddenly is supposed to make you forgive Girl Boss. No, Lois, go fuck yourself. Alright, so Action Comics number 1060, I gave a 4.5. It was mediocre! A mediocre new start by Mark Waid. You're a wang. You suck, Mark Waid. You suck. You are overrated. You suck, man. So Weird Monster comes out of the Phantom Zone that Superman and Kara fight and take down with gold kryptonite with Jimmy Olsen. Superman is now going into the Phantom Zone to see what is going on inside. That's this Mark Waid. And you know what? I'm going to let RKS take over about 1070. RKS says he gives it a 4 out of 10. He says, if you like this issue, you must be on some serious drugs, man. I think he's right. I think he's absolutely right. He goes on, he says, the main story is mediocre at best, and the backup by Tamaki is so bad it should have never been published. Ugh. This book is at all-time lows in terms of writing direction and understanding of characters. So many forced aspects of the book. DC's mentality is that you will have this shoved down your throat and you will like it. Right. Here's DC and here's the customer, me. I don't want it. Suck our dick, customers. Suck it off. That's DC. They don't give a shit whether what they're making is good or not. You will swallow it, and you will be those sheep that say, Tail, it's so good. Give me more schlop. Thank you, DC. Thank you. Oh. And same thing with 1071. Sucks. I don't even feel like talking about it. I says if you're an insomniac and you need a cure, read number 1071. It'll put you right to sleep, you sweet little thing. And then number 1072, nothing to say. Number 1073. I gave 1073 a 7. I don't know why, really. I said, not bad. The most interesting part of this issue was how Ethier, who's this fucking random god that took over the Phantom Zone, and he felt so sorry about these souls that are just limboing through Phantom Zone and can't do anything about it. He creates a whole new physical reality for them, and it backfires on Aether, this god. And they were, all the people that he frees from this Phantom Zone are a bunch of psychos and stuff. And then he becomes this mean, angry, narcissistic god who wants to destroy everybody because he's like, I'm a god, and I gave these guys their freedom and their physical, sensual stuff back, and they don't appreciate me. Why doesn't anybody appreciate Aether the god? And then Aether the god is an asshole now. Wow, Mark Waid, you're so funny and creative. Wow. I think the only reason why I like 1073 is because Aether threw Superman down some kind of time hold thing, and Superman managed to climb out of it, but he ends up in he ends up in Krypton before it was blown up, and we're gonna find out they really tease this one. The secret of Jor-El. Superman's father has a big secret. What's his secret? Don't you want to know the secret of Jor-El? Isn't this mysterious? Isn't Mark Waid a great writer? So, number 1074, I gave it a 5. More interesting story now that it's in Krypton, and Clark is trying to figure out how to escape with the help of his dad. It's not easy, though. Some jerk from the council barges in and messes everything up. Would have been a 10 if this would have been a 10 if not for the cringe Keenan and Superboy's side story about looting treasures and parallels to the literally, no joke, guys. There's like a side story now where Keenan, the Chinese Superman, and Superboy Connor, I guess, they're like in this this museum in the middle of space, and Keenan goes on this whole woke, political correct diatribe about, they're stealing the historical pieces of less cultured, less intellectual cultures. This is very similar to what the English and the 20th century Western civilizations have done to who they deemed to be the lesser of them. They stole their goods. And then he goes on to say, we need to educate these aliens about reparations. Reparations, Superboy. That's Keenan. Keenan is, I am a Chinese Superman. So anyway, issue number 1074. Oh, RKS. You know, RKS again. He's on fire. This guy. He nails it every time. He says here, this book is in the crap right now. Get Mark Waid off this book. Get him off this book. Mark Waid's Action Comics represents a profoundly perplexing exercise in storytelling wherein the boundaries of narrative craft are disregarded in favor of an imposed ideological framework. Now let me be clear. Storytelling is a means by which we articulate truths. Truths about human nature, about struggle, and indeed, about heroism itself. But this issue, instead of wrestling with those universal themes, seems preoccupied with something else entirely. The author's uninvited commentary on societal issues that derail the plot and alienate the reader. RKS for the win. He's absolutely right. He alienates the reader. He educates you about reparations. He talks to you about global warming and climate change and all this shite you'll see in the further issues later on. It is embarrassing. Embarrassing. And yeah, I know you can say, yeah, but G-Man. A lot of the times they used what happened on Krypton as some kind of analogy about, oh, we're ignoring our Earth and we blow up and we should listen to the scientists. I know it's got some of those analogies, but you know what, man? It was done right. Like, it was good writing back then, and it was good. And if you watch Superman with Christopher Reeves, like, even if there's some analogy about the global warming or whatever they were worried about in the 70s, at least, I mean, for the 70s, for 1978, when they're showing Krypton being destroyed and everybody's dying, that was some good shit at least. For 1978, those effects still look good, and it was great. It was like watching hell on Earth. It's like watching all the Kryptonians falling into hell. I love it. And, but this stuff is just ridiculous. Alright, so let me go straight to issue number 1075, right? So I said here, I must be stupid because I was left scratching my head at the end of this ish. Yeah, the Keenan segment is retarded and unnecessary. Aether is pretty cool, not really. I was enjoying the Krypton sequence. I gave this a 2.5, by the way. The most, and I love the Krypton sequence the most, and love the part where Jor-El and Lara talk shit to Roseanne, who's the guy who was giving him a hard time. He's a guy who's apparently jealous. He wanted to marry Lara, apparently, but she went to Jor-El, and Roseanne hates Jor-El. That's why he's always sending the council after Jor-El and trying to get him in trouble all the time, because Roseanne wants a piece of Lara's ass. Give me that ass, Lara. But Lara's like, no, Roseanne. This ass is reserved for Jor-El. Jor-El. But yeah, anyway. What did I write here? I like seeing Supergirl show up as a kid acting like a brat and Clark laughing about it to himself. But I got ripped from any immersion when the comic went from that to showing Lois and Jimmy in the Daily Planet office talking about climate change. Look, it's reversing. The climate change is reversing. Look, we're not getting hot anymore. We're getting colder. Wow, climate change is real, right, guys? And we didn't change it from global warming to climate change, and 10 years from now we'll probably change it to some other fucking stupid term like I don't know, temperature thermometer decreasing, increasing. I don't know. Just always happen to change it when it fits what we need to say at the moment. But anyway, I mean, it's because it has something to do with Aether and the Phantom Zone and some stupid shit. That's why the sun is losing its heat. Lois dramatically looks out, and the comic showed the sun being sucked up or something. I have no idea how we jump from Krypton to that. It makes no sense. What is going on in this issue? And I'm going back to my boy, RKS. Oh, do I need to be politically correct? I don't know if RKS is a they, them, or a he, she, or an it, we, or a dick, B, or la 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 la. Fuck you. RKS here. He says, he gave it a 2 also. He says, this is an alarming example of narrative disarray, a collection of tales that stumbles over its own ambitions and ultimately collapses under the weight of its shortcomings. The issue suffers from a glaring tonal and thematic inconsistency, largely due to the contributions of Mark Weiner and Mariko Tamaki, whose stories are at best indulgent distractions and at worst exercises in narrative irresponsibility. And then there's Mariko Tamaki. What can be said about her portion of this issue except that it is wholly unnecessary? Tamaki is the one doing the one about Keenan and Superboy looking for reparations and stealing cultural indigenous stuff from other aliens. La 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 la. That's what she's doing. Are you kidding me? He says here, RKS goes on, her story reeks of misplaced priorities, focusing on tangential subplots that neither enrich the Superman mythos nor engage the reader. It's storytelling as filler, an afterthought masquerading as substance. Tamaki's penchant for turning every exchange into an opportunity for introspective navel-gazing, as he says here, leaves the narrative feeling sluggish and bereft of momentum. The stark contrast between Williamson's work and that of his co-contributors underscores the fundamental problem with Action Comics, a lack of cohesive vision. The issue fails to coalesce into a meaningful whole, instead feeling like a patchwork of competing priorities, most of which fall short of the mark. In conclusion, 75 is a deeply flawed publication that squanders its potential by allowing mediocrity to overshadow brilliance. While Williamson's story shines as a beacon of what could have been, the rest of the issues drag it down into the mire of creative mismanagement. It's a disservice to the legacy of Superman and to the readers who deserve so much more. And on to number 1076 by me, another 4.5. Not as bad, but I guess the only big thing we learned from Superman's visit to past Krypton was the Phantom Zone being used as a prison. Wasn't his father's idea. It was Roseanne's idea. And also Zor, who is, I guess their cousin or uncle or something. Zor is a huge dick fink. Glad he didn't survive Krypton's destruction. Yeah, he rats out on Jor-El, this guy, Zor. He's like, yeah, you don't believe in the science that I believe in. I'm going to turn you, Jor-El. I'm going to turn you to the proper authorities because you're not thinking correctly. Bag. That's already the end of the Krypton story, and the Keenan side story is gay. Keenan and Superboy should just get a room and fuck already. And Superboy didn't beat the Admiral Coon to command his cooned army. He probably gave him a blowjob or something to wear Admiral Coon's coat. I mean, that haircut says it all. Like, he looks fucking gay now. Alright, I don't want to go over more of what RKS says. He says here, like, Jor-El himself is rendered as little more than a plot device stripped of complexity or gravitas. Here is a figure whose legacy looms large over Superman's identity, and yet his involvement feels perfunctory. His role reduced to a tired cliché rather than a meaningful exploration of fatherhood, guilt, or the burdens of knowledge. Well said, my friend. Number 1077. So Aether, the narcissistic god, he dies from an overinflated ego and getting to many likes on his Instagram and also gaining a huge fan base on his OnlyFans account. I'm joking about all that part. But no, jokes aside, he literally keeps growing in mass and just blows up and literally is becoming so fat, gaining so much mass, that he is creating his own gravity, which will threaten the existence of all the universes. I'm not kidding. You think I'm joking about that? You read this issue, that's literally in here. So Aether becomes a Peter Griffin joke. You guys remember when Peter Griffin, he was so fat he had his own gravity around his body? Yeah. This whole Mark Waid Action Comics run should just be a Family Guy cutaway gag. That would make more sense than having to take any of this garbage by Mark Wang seriously. 1078, ass, and that's... I'm just... Guys, I'm tired. I'm tired. My next review is going to be the continuation of the Miss Marvel read that I'm doing. That is fucking chef's kiss. I love Miss Marvel 2006 by Brian Reed. But this put me in a fucking mood. I'm tired. I'm exasperated from reading all this garbage and going over the bad thoughts I had about these runs. So I'm going to hold off on doing any more recordings for today. And I'm going to save it when I'm in a good mood to talk about Miss Marvel, because I got a lot to say about that series. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked, like and subscribe. And thanks for listening. Have a good one, guys.